here today answering readers' questions, and today I have a question from Bob. I'm going to call Bob to protect his privacy, but Bob says, I'm trying to stop drinking, and my wife and I have both completed your Naked Mind course, and we're undertaking your 30-day challenge. My wife has been much more successful than I have. She's 50-plus days alcohol-free, and I am becoming very aware and mindful of my triggers for drinking, so thank you so much. Now, although I've definitely improved, my biggest problem is lying to my wife about drinking, which she always finds out about. When I need that drink, I secretly do it without telling my wife, and then I lie about it. I've hidden wine for when I need it later, and then I feel so ashamed that I've drank again after days of not drinking. My wife is very supportive and has told me that if I want to drink, I need to do it openly, but I still feel ashamed. I've tried very low alcohol beer and currently trying to drink alcohol-free beer, which most of the time seems to work. My wife feels that unless I can be honest with her, we might not have a future together. We're currently receiving counseling, which we both feel is going well. Apart from lying around my drinking, my wife tells me, and I try to be, that a dedicated husband, father, and person in general. I'd love to hear your thoughts and strategies to overcome this terrible habit of lying and to be honest within myself and everyone else around me, which is the way I want to be. I've constantly lied about my drinking for years and years and years, and although she gets me to blow in a breathalyzer, I still lie to her. Why do I do this, and how can I stop? I'm breaking my relationship with lying, and it is hurting everyone. So, there's a lot of reasons that people lie, and some of them are relatively easy to fix, and some of them actually need significant therapy. So I think that Bob, couples counseling is excellent, but that's certainly for you as a couple and your relationship. I would highly suggest probably meeting with somebody who is a therapist who is trained in something more specific like lying. And lying is an interesting thing because we think, oh, we'll just stop, but like any addiction that's kind of turned into a habit, oh, well, just stop doesn't always work. And so we need other strategies to put into place. So first, let's look at why people lie. People lie because we behave badly and we want to look good to other people. So we want to save face, we want to self-aggrandize. We lie sometimes to control other people, to tell them what we want them to hear, or to, make them do what we want them to do. And then often it can just be a sheer force of habit, something we've been doing for years and years and years. People lie as protection. We lie to protect ourselves, to protect our emotions, and even to protect people around us. And sometimes we're just more comfortable with lies for all of those reasons. And here's something that is interesting. When you're like, just stop lying, you have to kind of accept some facts about compulsive and habitual lying, that these habits can be so deeply ingrained that not only do you not always realize you're doing them, but they can be difficult to break out of without the right therapy and the right strategy. So again, I'd highly recommend a therapist sort of trained specifically in this. But a few things is, while the truth over the long term is always going to be easier and better for your relationship, it is going to create a level of stress in the immediate term that you are trying to combat. So you have the stress of trying not to drink, and then you feel like you can't deal with that, so you have that drink, and then you have the stress of having to tell your wife about it, and that really can create this additional stress. So the telling the truth is going to create stress, which is going to be all cycled up. So a few strategies you can do is tell really small truths about other stuff all the time. So if you, instead of feeling like, why don't you just tell the truth of, oh, maybe your wife's name is Mary. Mary, I feel like I want to drink. And you just express that, perhaps before you've had the drink, so it's not such a big deal and you haven't lied. But you just make it the habit of telling small truths, even about stuff around alcohol. Just tell, when it crosses your mind, say it out loud. When it's in your head or you have a thought about it, say it out loud and start telling her these small truths and build this habit of truth telling. Another strategy is to mentally rehearse telling the truth. So say that you've went and you've snuck into your wine and you've had a few drinks, and then you just really mentally rehearse, okay, I'm going to go down and tell her the truth. And you make it a point that you were just going to walk in there and tell her the truth, instead of getting caught out in a conversation where you feel instantly, because right now you're default is going to be lying. That's what you've been doing for years. That's what's habitually ingrained into you. So if you are caught out in a situation where you're stressed or it's your default, it's going to be an instant lie because that's what you've always done. So if you can switch that and start to plan to tell the truth, and rehearse telling the truth, and maybe even rehearse telling the truth before you've even done the thing that you were planning to lie about over and over in your head, and maybe role play with her. I think that's a really good suggestion. It's another strategy that I've written down, is to actually role play with her how it would be, and do this over and over, to tell the truth about your drinking. So, you sit there and you say, okay, this is what happened today. I really got stressed out. I went and I really felt like I needed a drink. I had this drink, or whatever the case is. And then you role play this with her, and just over and over again, you teach yourself habitually that this won't be as stressful or as taxing to the relationship as it could be. Right now, you're struggling because you know mentally that the most stressful thing in your relationship is you're lying. That is what is making your relationship like hanging by a thread. You're about to walk off the door, like out of the door. She's going to walk out of the door. Something's going to happen very bad. Yet in the moment, it feels much less stressful to you to lie about drinking, because for years and years and years, you've lied about your drinking. And so it's a deeply ingrained habit. Now, lying like this and not being able to stop, there's a good possibility that it could be a symptom of other psychological disorders. So again, like I said before, it's really worth getting therapy and finding somebody who you know and trust, who you can talk to just one-on-one, who can give you more strategies of really working on this. And I know obviously you're very serious about saving your marriage because you're in couples therapy and all this other stuff. So I think really working on this is great. Obviously, even reaching out to me on this question is great, but I'm not a trained therapist, especially in lying. And so finding somebody who is really trained in that would be great. And then the other two recommendations I have are, along with starting small, is to identify which of your core needs that lying is filling in the moment. And, our 6 basic human needs, there's lots of different people that say lots of different things, but the 6 basic human needs that, I've found most helpful in kind of my journey come from Tony Robbins. And these needs are, you need growth and contribution. So to grow in yourself and your marriage, to give back. And you need the feeling of significance, to feel important, the feeling of loved, of being loved. And then there's 2 more human needs. Oh, you need the feeling of, ironically, of variety. So having new and different experiences, and of security. So having, feeling very secure. And I have a feeling that the needs that you're meeting by lying are the feeling of being loved. You feel like maybe you won't be loved if you're honest about how deeply ingrained alcohol has become for you, or maybe how much of a problem it is for you. And this need for security, your wife might leave, or she might get upset, or she might be frustrated. But if you can flip it and say, okay, those are the needs I'm feeling by lying, but actually I'm going to lose both the love of my wife if I don't stop lying, and I'm going to lose the security of this marriage because it might fall apart if I don't stop lying. Then in the moment when you do feel like, the urge to lie, you can hopefully maybe stop yourself and really overcome that urge. So hopefully these are a few useful strategies, but again, it's just scratching the surface. I really think that a trained therapist could do wonders in this situation, and I wish you the best of luck. It's a tough situation to be in, but I appreciate the question. I appreciate that you're reaching out. I mean, obviously you care very much and love your wife very much and do want to overcome this. So thank you so much. Have you tried the alcohol experiment? Okay, if not, drop everything and go to thisnakedmind.com/experiment. This free 30-day challenge is designed to interrupt your patterns and put you back in touch with the best version of you. You remember it was that version of you that's living your most joyful life, the version that doesn't need alcohol to relax or to have a good time and is having more fun than ever. And again, this is a totally free challenge that will change everything for you. So learn more and join me 100% free at thisnakedmind.com/experiment. And as always, rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast, as it truly helps the message reach somebody who might need to hear it today.